So thank you very much for joining the revision session. This is for the strategic level case study. There'll be 4 days of revision, and this is the first day out of those 4. So first day, we are going to be familiar with the pre-scene and the ground rules. Now, whenever I do my theory class, there are 10 different steps available. Step number 1 is called KYP. Step number 2 is called KYI. Step number 1, KYP stand for Know Your Pre-Scene. Step number 2, KYI stand for Know Your Industry. So we are going to start with KYP, KYI, ground rules. What are the basic rules available in doing SEMA, in doing the strategic level case study exams. Then we go into deep dive, in-depth analysis of the pre-scene. Then we do the refresh theory, E3, P3, F3. Then we give you the 7 mock papers. That's what we normally do. In the revision, however, it's going to be a revision, so it's going to be a limited version of it. But trust me, it will be useful for anyone who had kind of not joined the earlier session, missed the earlier session, could not concentrate enough and all that. Today, we are trying to look at the basics of this pre-scene and what are the basic rules available on the exam day for you to do the exams. For you to be successful, what are the rules that you need to follow? This session is going to take 1 hour and 30 minutes. This session is going to take 1.5 hours. Sharp 1.5 hours we are going to finish. I have already taken 1 hour and 35 seconds from you. So I have the remaining time of 1.5 hours to start. So let's go ahead directly to the pre-scene. The pre-scene this time is slightly new. It is not very, very normal for you to get involved in an industry like this. It's slightly new. What do we do? We are the manufacturers and sellers. We do manufacture and we do sell. What do we manufacture and sell? Manufacturers and sale of domestic heating products. So what we do is domestic heating product manufacturing. Domestic heating product manufacturing. What do you mean by domestic heating product manufacturing? Forget about domestic part. What do you mean by heating product manufacturing? Look at countries like Sweden. As much as all of us would like to go to Sweden, or look at countries like Finland. You have certain days of the month where you will see the sun only for few hours. In the winter period, you need to have a mechanism to keep your house warmer. Therefore, domestic heating equipment is a compulsory product for the countries where there is a winter season available. So this is a compulsory product. This is a product that is needed by the countries in that region. If you look at, I just took only one example of Sweden, where you will see the sun only for 2 hours or less in some days of the winter. However, we are talking about only domestic heating equipment, which means what? We don't do the industrial heating. We do the domestic heating. However, go back to the organization. We are called a hot air. We are a quoted public company. That is good for us to be a quoted public company. So issues related to quoted public company will be different to issues related to a normal company. So we need to talk about what kind of issues are faced by a quoted public company. I work as a CEO for a quoted public company. So I'll be able to share my experience of additional challenges available in running a quoted public company. Actually, what happened is, over the period of time where I work as a CEO or COO before, or CFO earlier, all the experience that I've seen, all the experience that I have experienced are the ones that I share you with the mock papers. They are the ones that will be tested on the exam day, because SEMA is very, very clear. SEMA wants to give very, very practical questions on the exam day to see whether you can write very practical answers. Right? So we'll come back to that point later. But we will share the experience of how it will have an impact on share price goes up, how it will have an impact on share price come down, why do you think share price will go up, why do you think share price will not react. All that are my day-to-day games. All that are my day-to-day impacts for me, for my job as a CEO of publicly listed company. Case study, always strategic level case study is from a publicly listed company. So that will be important for us to play the game right. Okay. So we are in a country called Nolan. Nolan is a developed country. Very good. Domestic heating is the broader industry where we work, right? And key products. What do we manufacture? What do we manufacture? Domestic gas boilers and air source heat pumps. Those are the two products that we manufacture. So you need to have a very reasonable understanding of these two products. You don't need to be an industry expert to know how these products are manufactured, but you need to have a reasonable understanding about these products. Gas boilers and air source heat pumps. Gas boilers and air source heat pump. So you need to know about these products. I'll give you a very brief about these products as well. I'll give a very brief about these products. So we have a heat pump and we have a boiler. We have a heat pump and a boiler, right? We have a heat pump and a boiler. The boiler will use a power source, like in our case, gas. Boiler will use a power source and heat the water, and that water is arranged in such a way to go through your entire house, either underground or inside the walls. So what a boiler will do, boiler will heat the water. That heated water will go through your house, maybe underground, in many cases it's underground, or throughout the walls. And when the water goes through underground or inside the walls, that will release the heat to your house. Therefore, in a winter, in a cold environment, your house will get warm because that hot water will release the heat to your house. That's what a boiler will do. However, boilers need a power source. In our case, the power source that is being used by the boiler is gas. So we are manufacturing boilers that run on gas. That is what a boiler, gas boiler means. Heat pump. Heat pump is our other product. Heat pump is our other product. The biggest difference between boiler and a heat pump is heat pump will not generate heat. Heat pump will not generate heat. The heat pump will work on the basic concept of transferring the heat. So you have a room, you have a room which is cold. You fix a heat pump. What heat pump will do? Heat pump will take hot air from the environment, put the hot air inside the room. Inside the room you have cold air. The heat pump will take the cold air out and put it inside. So heat pump will not generate heat. Instead, heat pump will work on the transfer of heat from one location to the other. As an example, in the winter, your room is cold, heat pump is fixed. Heat pump will take hot air from the environment and put it inside. Inside you have cold air, heat pump will take the cold air and put it out. So there's a basic difference between these two products, which you should be aware. Now, whenever you say gas boilers, you should know what's happening in the world about gas boilers. I will go in there in 1 minute, but look at the basic details of the basic product. Boiler, a heating unit that heats water by combusting fuel, usually LPG, natural gas or oil. So that will heat the water. Heat pump. What do you mean by heat pump? A heating unit that can either heat up or cool down a room using the principle of heat transfer. So can you please read the part on the heat pumps? So you will understand the basic difference between the heat pump and a boiler. Heat pump means what? A heating unit that can either heat up or cool down a room using the principle of heat transfer. Heat pump can be ground source or air source. Heat pump can get the source from the air or from the ground. Now in our company, we manufacture heat pumps, air source. Air source heat pumps is what we manufacture, right? This heat transfer is used to heat the water as well. This is what a heat transfer heat pumps up. Of course, you use a thermostat. I know I hope you know what a thermostat is. Thermostat is, you have a nice gadget in the room that you can fix it, and you can, it's like a small screen. You can increase, decrease, turn up, down. That will control the boiler. You're not going to go to the boiler and plug in things and look at the pipe and remove the pipe. No, no, no. You have a thermostat. Thermostat will control the boiler, right? So thermostat we don't manufacture, by the way. Thermostats are manufactured by other people. Thermostats are manufactured by other people, right? So these are the two basic products that we have. These are the two basic products that we have, right? So now you should know what is the difference between these two products, very, very basically. And then you will have a basic understanding of what happens. Now, what is happening in the real world? What is happening in the real world? So I'll go into what is happening in the real world after I show you what is given in the pre-scene about these products. The pre-scene says heat boiler demand is drastically coming down. The pre-scene says heat boiler demand is drastically coming down, right? So look at this. Where is the heat boilers? So you have gas and heat boilers in 2015, and 2020 gas and heat boiler demand has come down. And look at where gas and heat boiler demand forecast for 2025 and 2030. Can you see? Gas and oil boilers is having a very small percentage expected, forecasted to be in 2030. This is the details from the pre-scene. So gas and heat boilers demand is going to come down drastically. That is in the pre-scene. That is given in the pre-scene. Well, pre-scene is one side of the story. You should know what is happening in the real world as well, right? You should know what is happening in the real world. That is where this document might be a little help for you, which is what we call the deep dive. Here we talked about what is happening with the heat boiler market in the world. Here we will talk about what is happening in the heat boiler market in the world. In UK, can you look at this? The domestic heating appliance market is expected to bring immense growth prospects during the 2020 to 30. The increase in demand for energy saving and highly efficient heating device will bring good growth opportunity for domestic heating appliances market in 2020 to 30. So 2020 to 30, the demand is going to go up. But let me look at where it is mentioned. However, it is very, very clearly given the UK government is discouraging the use of gas boilers. Even there are, here we have, I found it, very good. I'm very happy. UK gas boiler ban in effect from 2025 to 2035. The UK government has been pressing on the ban of gas boilers, just ban of gas boilers, right? In order to be aligned with the ambitious plan of achieving net zero carbon dioxide emission by 2050. So UK government has passed act in a parliament which says whatever the government is in power by 2050, net carbon dioxide emission should be zero. Decarbonizing the UK homes poses to be one of the biggest challenges, especially with millions of houses that need to be retrofitted with the low carbon technologies. Gas boilers and other fossil fuel being major barrier to achieving net zero. It's only natural to phase them out, not only by banning them in newly built homes, but also eventually discontinuing the sale of the gas boilers. So this is what is happening in the actual world. Forget about the pre-scene. This is exactly what is happening in the actual world. So therefore, you can guarantee the exam day, one of the critical questions without a doubt. But don't forget, examiner has already issued the pre-scene now. Examiner is also in a problem very similar to what you are in. Examiner also can't give any question that comes to his mind. No. Examiner will have to look at what is happening in the external environment. Examiner will need to set questions from the external environment. So these are very big change that is happening in the external environment, as you can see from the pre-seed, as you can see from the real world scenario. If you go through the document of the deep dive, you will see what UK is doing. They're actually paying money. They're actually paying money for the people, those who are having houses. If you have a gas boiler, if you want to replace it with a better technology, they get a loan. They get a grant from the government. So therefore, this is an area that you should be aware. Can I please go back to the pre-seed? Just to look at very basic details about the pre-seed. Wow. I have two different factories, a boiler factory, heat pump factory. And large number of employees are available. Too many. 8,800 employees is too many. We are in a developed country. And I am sure we have automated a lot of things. And this boiler and the heat pump are not like a car manufacturing. They are very small equipment, not many items to be fixed in. So I don't know how they have so many people. Anyway, boiler factory, they have 3,800 staff. Heat pump factory, they have another 2,400. As a joke, their head office has 2,600 staff. I don't know what the hell those guys are doing. So this will be a concern. This has to be a concern. Any company in a developed country, carbon reduction is a key. If you are in Asia, you can afford to have 100 people more. You can't do that in a developed country. You can't do that in a developed country. Anyway, I have a separate boiler factory will be other trouble. Because I don't think we'll have a much demand for the boilers as we go on. I don't think we have much demand for the boilers as we go on. Right? So let's concentrate on few other things from the pre-seed. Wow. That maybe I will avoid, but look at the vision, mission, and values. Look at the vision, mission, and values. I understand what our mission is. Hotea's mission is to establish itself as a trustworthy supplier of excellent heating products. Very nicely written mission in my mind. Why do we exist here? How comes we are different to other companies? That's what the mission is. Our reason for existence is our mission. Hotea mission is to establish itself as a trustworthy supplier of excellent heating products. If you do supply excellent heating products, I'm sure you will be a trustworthy supplier. Trustworthy is reliable. So if you do supply excellent heating products, you are okay. I think our mission is broad enough. It does not say a supplier of domestic heating. It does not say supplier of gas boilers and air source heat pumps. So therefore it's broad enough. In the area of excellent heating products, we can manufacture any product. One of our mock papers is talking about we are trying to stop manufacturing gas boilers, but we are trying to go into solar powered heating systems. So can we go into solar powered heating systems based on the mission statement available? Of course, yes. Right? Of course, yes. So mission is broad enough. Look at the vision. Vision is what do we want to achieve in 10 years' time? Where we will end in 10 years' time? Vision is to lead the move towards zero carbon world. I don't understand. What is that? That's a very funny vision. What is vision, by the way? Vision is what you want to achieve in 10 years' time. Vision is what you want to achieve in 15 years' time. Vision is something that you come to office to achieve, something that you are inspired to achieve. That's what the vision is. Hotea's vision is to lead the move towards a zero carbon world. I mean, vision is to lead the move towards a zero carbon world. That looks very, very broad. That looks very, very broad. I'm even a little confused because I think if your vision is that, you should not be selling gas boilers even now. Because the gas boilers will kill the environment without a doubt. So you should discontinue that ASAP. Anyway, vision seems to be too broad. I would have happier to see a vision statement to say the best domestic heating equipment supplier the best company to get the heating equipment solutions is something that we can work hard to achieve in 10 years' time. But this is slightly different. So remember that issue that is available. As long as you remember, I'm sure you will be able to do something about it on the exam day. So what else? What else is available about this organization? We started in 1952 and was one of the first companies to specialize in boilers for domestic heating. We have listed ourselves in 1967. Growth by 1970, with the increase in the popularity of the boilers, we were the largest manufacturer of gas boilers in the country. Oh my gosh. So we were one of the largest in the country. We are a listed company. We are a very old company. We started in 1952. We listed in 1967. You need to remember some of those dates on the exam day because you need to show that you know about the organization. So 1952 maybe you need to remember. But more importantly, I'm surprised to see here, was one of the largest manufacturer of gas boilers in the country and had expanded into several export markets. Diversification commenced the product of air source heat pumps and the domestic heating equipment in 1997 and did so as one of the first moves into the market. Today is well-renowned domestic heating product manufacturer with the reputation of developing efficient and high-quality product. This is where we are. What you need to realize is whenever you go into these countries where there is a very strong winter, whenever you go into these countries where there is a very strong winter, you will realize the business model is very, very different. You can't learn it by being in Asia. So we are working with 4 different companies who are in the industry. So those 4 different companies are educating us. They are in the Europe. They are educating us about how business work in Europe. In Europe, you can't build your own house, obviously. You need to give it to a third-party company, and your heating system has to be built by a company who is certified by the government to build the heating system for the domestic market. So you can't decide, let's try to fix our heating system. It doesn't work like that. There are authorized companies based on the safety standard by the government to fix the heating equipment. You need to go to one of those companies who is authorized based on the safety standards to do the fixing of the heating equipment. And it doesn't take long time. They will come in. I have shown the video of how the building houses. It takes 3-4 days underground because everything is prefab. Everything is pre-manufactured. They'll come and plug it only. They will come and plug it the water lines to carry the heated water, and the water will release to the house in a very distributed manner. They come and fix it. So therefore, our gas boilers or our heat pumps are not sold to individuals. We don't sell any of these products to individuals. It is the authorized building contractors, authorized domestic heating equipment fitters are the people who will buy our product. So therefore, you need to realize your market is very much different. No point of putting a nice paper advertisement saying that we are the nice heating equipment company in the world, come and buy the heating equipment from us, because no consumers will come to you and ask for a heating equipment. No consumers will come to you and ask for a heating equipment. The engineers who are building it with the certified houses are the ones who will buy. So your marketing approach should be different. And if you do have an excellent product, really a quality product, many companies will come and buy it from you. Many companies will come and buy it from you because in those countries, safety is something that no one will ever compromise for whatever the cost that is involved. So you need to remember that game available, which is very much different to some countries elsewhere. They're talking about the different risk available. So there's a risk register available. Now, risk register is a very important business element for the exam day as well. Right? So there are different risks. Central heating systems are expensive. Product sales are affected by the economic cycle and the consumer confidence. The company is vulnerable to credit risk arising from the fact that customers themselves exposed to fluctuations in the economy. So there are few risks available. One of the critical risks available, one of the risks that will be covered in very early mock papers is there is a larger safety risk available. There is a larger safety risk available. Right? There's a larger safety risk available. That's one of the biggest impact risks that is available for us. So that needs to be managed, and how we are going to balance that risk. So the exam day questions in that area also will be very, very practical. Exam day questions in that area also will be very, very practical. Now, can you create a question? Can you create a question? Questions will be, one of the gas boilers that we have fixed into, this is exactly the mock number 1, but I'm trying to give you a heads up. One of the gas boilers that we fixed has blast. 2 people got injured. They are in the hospital. How do you manage a practical situation like that? Those are the questions that will be there on the exam. We are trying to go for a new product. Maybe we are trying to go for a product like what? Maybe we are trying to go for a product like, like solar powered heating equipment. If you try to go for solar powered heating equipment, how it will have an impact on you? Or if you try to go for solar powered heating equipment, is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? So I'm going to create some questions from you. I'm trying to create some questions with you. The best way to create some questions with you is to look at the core activities, because exam day questions will be based on the core activities available. Exam day questions will be based on the core activities available. So examiner will have no choice but to give a question on developing business strategy. Examiner needs to give a question on developing business strategy, no choice. Minimum of the marks for this area should be 15%. Maximum of the marks for this area should be 25% out of the 100% of the paper. Minimum, it should be 15% in this area, developing business strategy. Maximum should be 25. So I don't know what percentage will come, but I know it will be 15, 17, 20, 22, 25, between that. So examiner has no choice but to give a question, minimum of 15, maximum of 25, from developing business strategy. But what do you mean by so these are the core activities. The exam questions will have to be based on those core activities. Exam day questions will have to be based on core activities. So what do you mean by developing business strategy? That's simple. Developing business strategy is, I can evaluate strategic options and I can recommend strategic decisions. I can evaluate strategic options, I can recommend strategic decisions. I can evaluate strategic options, I can recommend strategic decisions. This is what you call core activity A. Minimum of 15%, maximum of 25%. So what do you mean by strategic options? Strategic options means what? We are now trying to go into a new product. The new product is solar powered domestic heating equipment. Is it a good idea to go ahead? Can you please evaluate that strategic options? Another question from the core activity A. Another question from the core activity A. We are now trying to go out of our country. We are trying to go into a new country. We are trying to go into a new country and start manufacturing and selling the products in that country. Another strategic option that is available. If you go into that a new country, start selling the products in the new country. If you go into a new country, start selling the products in the new country, then what will happen? You need to evaluate that strategic option. Is it a good idea to go? Is it a bad idea to go? You need to evaluate that strategic option. So exam day questions will clearly cover the area of core activity A. Or look at entirely a different product. Look at entirely a different product. Cyber attacks. So cyber attacks are coming from what? Cyber attacks are coming from the P3 refresh theory. We have a session for refresh theory where we refresh the theories of E3, P3, F3, where we refresh the theories of E3, P3, F3. In the P3 refresh theory, cyber attack is a very common topic. Maybe we are worried maybe we are worried whether we can have a cyber attack. I don't know what the impact could be. Maybe all our boilers and the heat pumps can be controlled by someone else suddenly. Everything that is fixed into the houses might also be controlled by someone else. Have you seen that movie? Someone gets control of all the cars. All the smart cars, someone is getting the control. So someone will kind of drive all the smart cars in the roads to one direction and to hit someone, right? So that's in the movie, but something similar. And there are enough cyber attacks available, right? So therefore, cyber attack can be a big area. So what we are trying to do is we are worried about a cyber attack. Our knowledge on the cyber attack is also not very good. We don't know cyber attacks. No, I mean, we know how to manufacture these heating equipment. We are now trying to buy a cyber security company. We are now trying to buy a cyber security company. So that question might be, I can evaluate potential acquisitions and de-investment opportunities. Is it a good idea to go ahead and buy this company? That might be a question on the exam day. So exam day questions, you can guess it properly if you try to go ahead. Right? If you try to go ahead. So there are 5 core activities available. Develop business strategy is one core activity. And core activity C obviously is a critical area that you need to master. Core activity C is absolutely a critical area that you need to master. Trust me, core activity C will always follow core activity A. Core activity C will always follow core activity A. Core activity A will talk about going for a new product. Core activity A will always talk about going for a new country. Core activity C will talk about, okay, you're trying to go for a new product, but where do you get the money from? You're trying to go for a new product. You're trying to buy a new company. How do you value the company that you're going to buy? So core activity A and C are linked to each other. Core activity A and C are linked to each other. So I'm not trying to go through all 5 core activities. However, your studies on the pre-scene needs to be linked to your studies on the pre-scene, which means the KYP. The KYP is the document that we were going through. Your studies on the KYP is the document that we were going through. Your studies on the KYP needs to be linked to the core activities, because if you do link to the core activities, then only you will be able to guess what's in the pre-scene will be important for you on the exam day. You can guess what kind of questions will be there on the exam day based on the pre-scene given. Right? So first part is to look at the pre-scene reasonably well. Right? Of course, we do have our financial statements. You need to quickly go through the financial statements and realize, how are we doing well? Are we doing really, really well? Are we doing really, really bad? You need to go through. You need to have a very good understanding about the balance sheet of the company, because there will be decisions that you need to make on the exam day. Things like, remember, your share capital is 408, your borrowing is 200 million, which means you have a gearing of 33%. Is it right? Can I go back to the gearing and see whether gearing is actually 33%? Yes, gearing is 32.89. My gearing is 32.89. So remember your gearing is 32.89 because on the exam day, one of the questions that will come is how can we finance it? So when an examiner asks you how to finance, whether to go for a bank loan, whether to go for a right issue, whether to go for new share issue, will depend on so many factors. Will depend on so many factors. One of those factors will be to see what the present gearing ratio is. So you got to memorize that. You got to memorize the present gearing as 33% because 200 divided by 608. Gearing is debt divided by debt plus equity, right? As you know, debt divided by debt plus equity. So you need to remember and memorize those. Then only you will be able to play the game on the exam day. So if you are trying to go for a new product, you need to evaluate whether it's a good idea to go for a new product or not. Then you need to say, how can we finance? And if you're trying to go for a bank loan, you need to say present gearing is 33%. And we are trying to increase the gearing, whether it will be an advantage or disadvantage. It will be a problematic. It will not be a problematic as well. So you need to look at that. You need to look at that. So can I look at yeah. So there are a few questions I'll answer as some had also current liabilities in the computing gearing. No, in the gearing, don't take current liabilities. Even a bank overdraft, a short-term liability, we don't take for gearing. Gearing is the longer-term sustainability of the debt. Gearing is how risky we are in the longer term. So you should be only taking the longer. Short term, we have other ratios. The current liability, current asset ratio will cover the short term part. Interest cover will cover the short term part. Interest cover and the current asset and current liability ratio will cover the short term part. Gearing is only look at the long term part. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is you need to look at those numbers available carefully because one of the most critical common questions that might be there on the exam day, which is of course coming from the core activities, is what are the methods available to finance? What are the methods available to finance? So you need to remember that because this is 15 to 25% of the exam day. When we do the normal course, we try to tell our guys, try to get 100 out of 100 for all the questions from the core activity C. That's not a bad target for you as well. Try to get. You might not be able to get 100 out of 100, but you should try to get 100 out of 100 for all the questions from the core activity C. Because there are 3 key questions from the core activity C. It'll be fun. Try to get 100 out of 100. But then you need to establish yourself very strongly if you want to get 100 out of 100. Because this is an area that is coming from the F3 refresh theory. So your game on the exam day should be to master the F3 refresh theory. You need to master the F3 refresh theory. So if you look at the F3 refresh theory, there's an area called financing, equity finance, financing, debt finance, financing the capital structure, dividend policy. This talks about whether to go for debt or equity. Advantages for going for debt, disadvantages going for debt. Very similarly, advantages and disadvantages for going for debt and equity are also there. So this is a very likely area to come. Of course, other very, very likely area on the exam day that will be there without a doubt is business valuations, financial and strategic implications of mergers and acquisition, and the business valuation. There are 4 valuation methods available again coming from the F3 syllabus. This will be there on the exam day. So that's what I'm trying to say is you can't learn the pre-scene alone. You need to learn the pre-scene alone with the core activities. Pre-scene and the core activities you need to cover. Whilst you cover pre-scene and the core activities, you need to link to the refresh theory of E3, P3, F3. Now I am in the slides of P3, E3, F3 or the F3 refresh theory. This needs to be linked as well. So that is why you got to know about the things like what? You got to know about the things like debt financing. You got to know about the things like debt financing. You got to know about the things like equity financing. So what do you mean by equity financing? What do you mean by IPO? What do you mean by a private placement? What do you mean by a right issue? That you should master. Then the debt financing as well, because this is the theory part that you need to master. So does it actually come on the exam day like that? I mean, does it actually come on the exam day like that, or am I just trying to exaggerate the situation? Are there direct questions where you need to value the business? You need to decide whether to uh, go for a debt capital. You need to decide whether to go for equity capital. Should you actually remember? The percent gearing ratio? Is it actually needed? Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. Right? So if I try to show you some of the questions from that, I am sure you will find it very, very interesting, because the questions will directly talk about it. So I'm just trying to show you one question, of course, from the 2019. I can show you from any paper, but look at 2019. So you will trust me. When I show you will trust me, right? This is a Denby. Denby is a private hospital group. Right, we were running some private hospitals, so government hospitals will give us patients. We try to get the patients directly to our hospital. Denby is trying to go into a new sector called sports injury centers, sports injury clinic. The sports guys, the runners, they need the best medical care. Whenever they have injuries, they will spend any money, or their club will spend any money. So that's a good area to be. That's a very good area to be. Exam day, on the pre-scene, we never had the sports injury clinic. In the pre-scene, we never had the sports injury clinic. Exam day, examiner asked in the section number 1, we are now trying to go into sports injury clinic. Do you think it's a good idea? That question is coming from which core activity? Is it co-activity A, B, C, D, E? That question is coming from which co-activity? Have I been just talking to the air? Okay, so should I go into the sports injury clinic? Is it a good idea? That came from co-activity A. Now this question is interesting. This came from co-activity C. The company's board is planning to introduce sports injury clinic to 2 of its hospitals. We are trying to introduce sports injury clinic, right? We will almost certainly have to borrow the funds needed to set up the sports injury clinic. They're not telling me how to finance. They are telling me we have no doubt, but we need to borrow money to set up the sports injury clinic. Would it be irresponsible for Denby's board? Would it be irresponsible for Denby's board to borrow 130 million K dollars? To borrow the entire requirement we are going to borrow. Is it irresponsible for the board of directors? So you're going to borrow. They're asking whether it's good or bad. Well, on the exam day, look at the examiner's answer. The examiner's answer even calculate the present gearing and even calculate the revised gearing. The examiner's answer is calculate the present gearing and revised gearing. They are calculating present gearing like this, and they are calculating the revised gearing. So the difference between the present gearing and revised gearing is, you can see in the present gearing 550 is debt, equity is 1144. In the revised one, they are adding 132 gearing and 132 debt, and another 132 is added when you divide it by. So they are calculating the gearing. So these are the direct questions that you will see on the exam day. So I want you to therefore go through the pre-scene videos, go through the co-activities, try to link the pre-scene and the co-activities, link these two along with the refresh theory E3, P3, F3. You mix refresh theory E3, P3, F3 alone with the core activities plus the theories. That's the overall view that I want all of us to have. That's the overall view I want all of us to have. That's the overall view that I want all of us to have. So this is my first half, which is out of 1 hour and 30 minutes. This is my first 45 minutes. So I have taken 45 minutes and 17 seconds. I have taken 45 minutes and 17 seconds. Okay. Relax for 2-3 minutes. Relax for 2-3 minutes. Then we'll go into the next part. Relax for 2-3 minutes. So we'll go into the next part. So whilst you relax, I'll try to answer some of the questions available as well. Whilst you relax, I'll try to answer some of the questions as well, right? Whilst you relax, I'll try to answer some of the questions available. Right? So I'll quickly try to answer some of the questions available. Just now you use the formula debt divided by debt plus equity for gearing. Some use formula of debt divided by equity. What's the difference? There's no difference. No? I mean, you can use either one. Generally, I use debt divided by debt plus equity. Whatever you use, you need to continuously use it. It doesn't matter. Most companies, if you see in the real world, they use debt divided by debt plus equity. Now, did you see examiner's answer? That's a good example. Did I show you the examiner's answer? They have used the same. So I don't know right or wrong. SEMA examiner had been using it like that for years. We have been teaching for SEMA case studies for years. So we also use it. But if you use debt divided by equity, nothing wrong. But SEMA always use debt divided by debt plus equity. That's what most companies do, right? If you use debt plus equity, fine. But then you need to, comparison purposes, you need to continue to use that, right? Are you clear? And Kim Poi, are you clear? I hope you are clear, right? I hope you are clear. So I'll go to the next question quickly. I go to the next question quickly. In winter, how they are going to recharge solar powered batteries? Interesting question. So you need to find a way to store. The technology is available, but not very easy. But let's not go into that question. So it's not a technical session. No? Please share the PDF. Of course, we'll do that. I think I missed the opportunity to register with you earlier. No problem. Let's try to help you to pass now. Hot air is not selling to end users. Yes. So intermediary like builders and building merchants may recommend the competitor product because its price is lesser than us. It may increase their profits if they fix less price products. Will it be a threat to hot air? Yes, it is a threat. It's a business threat available. So you need to figure out how you can, whenever your product is cheap, whenever your product is expensive, you have the challenge all the time. I work as a CEO for a public listed company. My products are at least 30% more expensive than the cheaper products available in the market. But there are ways and means of selling that, right? There is a reason why your products are more expensive. So you need to find the reason why your products are more expensive. You need to find the customer base, market segmentation that will appreciate that. So you can sell the product. You can sell the product. Right? So that's the game that we will have to play. Someone said in the old days, someone said, if your customer is saying that you are more expensive, you are talking to the wrong customer. You are talking to the wrong customer. So your personal target or opinion, what is the questions will come out? Is it acquisition, same business or different business? That my strategy is, SEMA has given core activities. SEMA has, that's all. The questions are all right. SEMA has given core activity. So we know broader what questions will come. Since you have core activities broader wise, you know what questions will come. So don't try to narrow it down further. Don't try to think, will we acquire a company in the industry? Will we acquire something else? That is difficult to think. Get ready for either option. That's what we do. So whenever you do 7 mock papers with us, we'll cover all the possible questions. We'll cover all the possible questions. So as long as you play that game right, I'm sure you can pass. I had taken 5 minutes to answer your questions. I hope questions are over. I had taken 5 minutes to answer your question. I hope questions are over. So I can go into the second part of the discussion. I can go into the second part of the discussion. Right? I can go into the second part of this. So I had taken now 45 minutes to do the first part, 5 minutes for the questioning. So I have 40 minutes now. I have 40 minutes now. Okay. Go to the pre-scene. Go to the pre-scene. So I'm sure you will get a very nice understanding about the pre-scene. But when you go through the KYP, your life becomes much easier. Look at the pre-scene as well. Look at what kind of details are given in the pre-scene. Very similar to KYP. I'm sure it's easier to go through the KYP, but look at some of the documents that is available. Now, this is like you have a gas cylinder here. So this can be filled in. So you have a gas tank coming in and fill in and go. So therefore that technology is available. This is like in the house, underground, they will fix the pipes that will carry the hot water. So in the videos, before we start the case study, 4 companies are working with us from Europe. They showed the entire process of building the house. In the sense, not the house, building the underground water pumps to carry heated water from the boiler, and how the heat will be distributed throughout the house. So this is a very simple picture given in the pre-scene, but the reality is also very similar. We have shared some videos with the guys. I'm sure you can also see the videos that will show you how does it work. Then at the same time, you have a concept called, I'm trying to give a little bit of, now this is also nice, right? So this is the ground source heat pumps. These are the ground source heat pumps, right? And this is the air source heat pumps. Ground source heat pumps will take the power from the ground. Air source heat pumps will take the power from the air. Both products are available. If you go through the KYP, there are some pictures available. Difference of these products are also shown. Difference of these products are also shown. All right. So we should be living in a country that is more suited for our product. We should be living in a country that is more suited for our product. There will be enough and more questions on the exam day from the share price. Enough and more questions on the exam day for share price. Without a doubt, there will be a question from the share price. Without a doubt. So you can't just remember the share price and pass this paper. You need to know the basics of the share price. So I work as a CEO for public listed company, so I might be able to share some of the things that will be tested on the exam day from what we face. Actually, what we face in the real world is what will be tested. Suddenly, you decide to do something good. You decide to do something good. You announce it. Share price doesn't go up. So you're worried, what happened? Doesn't the market like it? We thought market will like that we are trying to expand. Right? We thought market will like that we try to expand. We announced that we are going to expand into 2 different countries in next 6 months. Share price did not go up. We were expecting share price to go up. Shareholders doesn't seem to be care about it. Well, that depends on what kind of shareholders you have. That depends on what kind of shareholders you have. That depends on what kind of shareholders you have. Some people will buy your shares like a retail share. What do you mean a retail share? They buy and sell your share. Trust me, some people buy the shares in the morning, they sell next day, or they sell in the evening. They buy the shares and sell it in the evening. That happens, right? So that's kind of retail share. So those shareholders are not interested in what you're going to do after 6 months. They will buy and sell anyway. Some shareholders are very serious with you. They don't worry whether share price go up, share price come down. They bought your shares because they want to hold the shares for next 5 years. They bought your shares because they want to hold the shares for next 5 years. So suddenly, share price goes up, share price comes down, they're not worried. Some shareholders, whenever they hear a good news, they don't react. They wait and see. So they take the approach of wait and see. So they call you. Actually, since I'm the CEO, some shareholders will call and say that I saw that announcement that you're going to go into the new product. How sure it? I mean, it's a good thing. I know it's a good thing, but how we can see whether your I mean, by what date we can see your factory work start? So I say it will take another 6 months. Then they say, oh, 6 months. So then we know whether you're serious about it, right? What kind of shareholders are they? They're waiting for 6 months to see. They don't react on the what? They don't react on the news that they heard. They don't react on the news that they heard. They will wait and see. Even bad news, they do like that. Sometimes whenever you give a bad news, some people will sell the shares instantly. Whenever they hear the bad news, they will sell. Some take the approach of wait and see. They say, oh, let the company make an announcement. I'll wait for the announcement to be made. So therefore, how share behavior is little complicated. So you should, and it depends on what kind of share market you have. Some share market don't work on rumors. Some share market will work on the rumors. And some share market, there'll be a lot of manipulations happening. Someone will push the share price to go up because through the traders, there are share traders available. Through the traders, they can increase the share price. So their holding will go up as well. Their value will go up as well. So all those you need to learn. And I hope you have seen our beta is 1.12. This is, I hope, is the geared beta. This will include the business risk and the financial risk both. There's an ungeared beta. Ungeared beta is only the, can I explain this? There's a little bit of F3 area, not complicated, but like little fun. There is a ungeared beta. Ungeared beta will represent only the business risk. Geared beta will represent the business risk and the financial risk both. When your gearing goes up slowly, you take a higher risk. When your gearing goes up slowly, you take a higher risk. So I hope this is the geared beta that is available. Because our gearing is 33%. So this 1.12 of the beta is including the 33% of the gearing as well. That's my assumption, right? 1.12 means what? This shows how risky your business compared to the average investment in the share market. If the share market risk is 1, how much is your risk? 1.12. That means you are a company that has a higher risk profile compared to an average share in the share market. That is what we call it geared beta 1.12. That's a very basic explanation that I gave you. That's a very basic explanation. In the real explanation, what happens is when share market hits a very positive by 100, you will hit by 112%. When the share market goes down by 1, you will go down by 1.12. Your responsiveness will be more than the normal share market responsiveness. So that is what you call you carry a higher risk. That is what 1.12 is. So 1.12 is geared beta. There is a question. While answering the question, do we state assumptions like assuming beta is including the financial risk? Generally, when you say beta, I am sure it's including the financial risk. If you want, you can say that, right? But what I'm trying to say is this represents the risk level of the organization. This represents the risk level of the organization, right? So there is a risk register available. There is a risk register available. I am sure there will be questions on the exam day from the risk register. I am sure there will be questions on the exam day from the risk register. How? How am I sure? How am I sure there will be questions from the risk register on the exam day? How do I know it? You know it as much as I know it. You know it as much as I know it, right? Because going to the core activities, look at the last 2 core activities are very much related to the risk. Last 2 core activities are very much related to the risk. Last two core activities are very much related to the risk. Your risk register is incomplete. So you need to look at, are we covering all the risk? And your risk mitigations are not very strong sometimes. You need to study all that. Why? Why should you study all that? Because the core activity D and E are from that. Worst case, if you don't like the risk part of the syllabus, you might get a hit of 50% or minimum 30%. Did you understand 30 and 50? Where did I get it? Did you understand 30 and 50? Where did I get it? Say yes if you understood. Say no if you did not understand. That's fine either way. Right? I will assume that you understood. So if you combine these two, you have minimum of 30, maximum of 50. So this is coming from the risk areas. Therefore, this is not a joke, right? Look at the core activity D. You should look at, I can evaluate risk and recommend response and can manage the corporate risk register. I can evaluate and mitigate cybersecurity risk. I can recommend internal controls. Wow, those will be there on the exam day without a doubt. Internal audit, corporate governance, appropriate controls. So this will be there on the exam day, mostly from the P3 syllabus. This will be there on the exam day. Therefore, you need to master the risk register without a doubt. Without a doubt, you need to master the risk register. Without a doubt, you need to master the risk register. What do you mean by master the risk register? What do you mean? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Simple. You need to do a lot of thinking about the risk register. We are a high-risk business. Whether anyone likes it or not, we are a high-risk business. I mean, whatever you say, we are a high-risk business, no, my dear. That's why the gearing is, that's why the beta is 1.12, man. That's why the beta is 1.12. We are a high-risk business. The question to ask is, okay, did it cover all the risk? And the risk mitigations, are they proper? Risk mitigations, are they proper? Right? So you need to look at those. You need to look at those. All right? You need to look at those. Now, can you look at practical issues of the credit risk? Can you look at the practical issues of the credit risk in a little bit more detail? The company is vulnerable to credit risk. That I know. That means you are giving credit. You are giving credit, and whether those guys will pay you or not. You have a risk. That I understand. Company is vulnerable to credit risk. All right? So that I understand. Arising from the fact that customers themselves exposed to fluctuations in the economy and the consumer confidence. I don't understand. Do you understand? I don't understand. So can we go through this? The company is vulnerable to credit risk. Okay, what is credit risk? You have sold the products on credit and these guys are not paying. That is what the credit risk is, no man. Simple, right? The company is vulnerable to credit risk. Arising from the fact, the credit risk is arising from what? Arising from the fact that customers are themselves exposed to fluctuations in the economy and in consumer confidence. What is in consumer? Fluctuations in the economy, fluctuations in consumer confidence. Consumer confidence also fluctuates. Fluctuations in the economy. I think that is not proper risk, no. I don't think that's a proper risk. If you understand, if you go through it, it's not a proper risk. Can we read the risk mitigation? Can we read the risk mitigation? So we might understand it slightly better. Can we read the risk mitigation? So we might understand it slightly better. Hotea aims to mitigate this risk through diversification across different markets. Diversification across different markets. What the hell is that? We try to sell in very different markets. Okay. As well as setting credit limit for existing customers and conducting credit checks on new customers. Oh, it's a good risk control, seems to be good. So if I go into credit risk, let's talk about credit risk. Credit risk is what? You sell on credit, you might not be able to collect. Simple, right? However, they are talking about the credit risk arising from the fluctuations in the economy. What do you mean fluctuations in the economy? Fluctuations in the economy is economic conditions suddenly become bad. If the economic conditions are becoming bad, people will not spend money on very expensive heating equipment. They will take a very basic heating equipment. They will take a very basic heating equipment. That's what they can do. So then there will be an impact for your demand. Then there will be impact for your demand. So there are a few questions. Aren't they selling to B2B? Yeah, we know that. They are selling to not to the final customer. They are selling to the people who are building houses. Still the credit risk is there. Still the credit risk is there, right? So a lot of people are saying Hotea is not directly selling to customer. Yes, but then someone is buying from you, no? Who is buying? Not the house owner, but the one who go and fix it. He might not pay you. You know what I mean? So you can't. That risk is there. If you think it's not right, if you think it's not right, what you can quickly do is you can look at the financial statements of the company as well. So go to the financial statements of the company. Hotea. What is the revenue? 756 million. Revenue is 756 million. Go and see whether they are debtors or not. Then we can see. Are there debtors or not? There is trade receivable of 70 million. Trade receivable of 70 million. Right? Trade receivable of 70 million. What is the trade period that we have given? Very approximately, can you please calculate? Very approximately. Revenue is 756 million. Revenue is 756 million. So very approximately we'll calculate it because a lot of people are asking questions on that. We'll very approximately calculate 756 million is the sales, right? I hope I got it right, right? I hope I got it right. So can I calculate sales for 1 day? Divide by 356 days, right? 756 divided by 360 days. 756 divided by 360. So sales per day is 2.1 million. For a 1 day, we do sales of 2.1 million. So 70 divided by 2.1 million is 33 days. We have given credit for 33 days. So that's the credit risk that they're talking about. 34 days someone has calculated. Very good. That's the credit risk that they're talking about. All right. So how do we, now you should be able to evaluate that. You should be able to evaluate. First thing is to identify what's the trade period that we are given. Is it 15 days? Then there are overdue debtors available. Why is that? So then you need to ensure credit worthiness evaluation is done. Credit limit should be available for each guy. Maybe you should try to see the bank guarantees available. Strong follow-up needs to be done. Right? And as the pre-scene says, if you are worried because of the economic conditions, we will not be able to do it, then you need to ask very basic questions. Should I have a basic product ready as well? When the economic conditions are bad, do I have a product that I can sell? Instead of selling a premium product, can I sell a slightly low price, the basic version? Right? So likewise, you should be able to evaluate this. You should be able to evaluate. So you should be able to go for a detailed discussion of all the risk that is available. All the risk that is available. Right? So look at that. Company employees make a vital contribution to the success. I don't know about vital contribution. There are 8,800 people, too many people anyway, right? The manufacturer and quality control boilers in heat pump require care and precision. You need to be accurate. You need to have the care. Risk available. People might be leaving. Hotea Human Resource Department conduct monthly meetings. Hotea provide excellent training and funding for part-time study, enable employees to develop skills. So you need to go through, does it cover all the risk? Does it cover all the risk? If not, what could be the other risk? If the proper risk mitigations are given, you need to evaluate them one by one, because co-activity D and E are talking about the risk register on the exam day. Corporate governance, oh my gosh, absolutely an important area. Corporate governance, absolutely an important area, right? So how many executive directors you have, how many non-executive directors you have, you need to do the maths and see whether we have the proper organizational structure, right? I don't know. Maybe we have a non-executive chairman, very happy. Chairman and CEO are two different individuals, very good. Chairman is non-executive, very good. So we have a chairman and CEO, two different individuals, one problem is resolved. Then we have how many directors do we have? We have chief operating officer, is a director. Chief financial officer is a director. Marketing is a director. Research and development is a director, 4. We have 4, and the CEO. We have 5 executive directors. How many non-executive directors we have? We have only 3 non-executive directors. Not enough non-executive directors. The rule is non-executive directors number to be the same as executive directors, excluding the non-executive chairman. Excluding the non-executive chairman. Excluding the non-executive chairman. So and do we have, yes, CEO is a director. CEO is not a director, but for the corporate governance, director position. For the corporate governance, it's a director position. So therefore, we will take as a director for that calculation, right? Otherwise, there are a lot of people who are not directors. Even the COO is not director, right? Look at COO is not a director, right? So let's come into this. Let's come into this discussion. So then, can you see the heading? I will not spend a lot of time on that argument because it might not be really valuable. Can you see the argument of board of directors? Can you see the argument of can you see the heading of board of directors? They are under board of directors. So for the purpose of corporate governance, they are directors, right? So I will not try to go into that argument to save time. However, then to look at, do we have the right committees? We have audit committee. We have a risk committee. So audit committee, audit committee has the non-executive chairman. Audit and risk committee got the non-executive chairman. What is his name? Martin. Martin? Who is this Martin guy? Is he the chairman of our company? Martin guy, is he the chairman of our company? Go and see who the chairman. Oh, Martin. Martin is the chairman of the company. Martin is available in the audit committee. I hope you can hear me, right? You can hear me, right? I hope Martin, listen to me carefully. I hope Martin, who is the chairman of the company, is not the chairman of the audit committee. That is not recommended. Can you guys hear me? I'm sure you can hear me, right? There's no issues from my side. I'm sure you can hear me, right? Yeah, okay. So chairman of the company, Martin, I hope he's not the chairman of the audit committee. That's not the best practices. That's not the best practices. Otherwise, chairman's power will go up. So chairman of the company can be in the audit committee, but he can't be the chairman of the audit committee. Chairman of the audit committee should be another non-executive director with recent financial background. So I work for a public listed company. I have a chairman, non-executive chairman. I have audit committee, remuneration committee, nomination committee. I don't have a risk committee. Job of the risk committee is done by my audit committee. So my audit committee chairman is a qualified chartered accountant. My chairman of the company is in the audit committee. My chairman of the company is in the audit committee, but he is not the chairman of the audit committee. Audit committee chairman will take the leadership of the audit committee. So corporate governance, yes, very much likely. So I want you to go through the pre-scene carefully. That's the first part that I wanted to do. Secondly, why do people fail? Why do people fail the exam? There are 4 reasons given why do people fail case studies. there are 4 reasons given why do people fail case studies in the new syllabus. No. Since 2010, why do people fail the case studies? The same reasons. SEMA examiner is telling you those reasons every year. These are the reasons why people fail, and our people will continue to do the same mistakes. Our people will continue to do the same mistake. Are you with me? SEMA had been telling us since 2010, why do people fail the case studies? The reasons that they told us in 2010 are the same reasons that they are telling now. Why do people fail the case studies? But we continue to do the same mistakes. We continue to do the same mistakes. We continue to do the same mistakes. So we need to find a way to stop those mistakes. We need to find a way to stop those mistakes. Now, I will not spend a lot of time, but I will not spend a lot of time. I will quickly go through a few slides, right? This is from 2017 exams. These are 2015 syllabus, right? 2015 syllabus, I'm taking from the 2017 exams. Why do people fail the strategic level case study? This is why people fail the strategic level case study. Exam requirements misunderstood. I mark more than 400 papers every year. I mark more than 400 papers every year. I see this problem every year. People don't answer the questions asked. People have certain questions in their mind, they answer those questions. People don't allocate enough time on the question. That's a danger. People don't allocate enough time on the question. That's a danger. People start writing to answers very fast. They think the one who start answering first will get the highest mark. No. Don't jump into answering the question. Think about the question 5 times before you start answering. These are the reasons why people fail. In 2017, in 2015 syllabus, exam requirements missed or misunderstood. Theoretical areas not understood. I showed you the F3 theory. If you don't understand, you can't pass. Answers being unrelated to the requirement. You write unrelated things. Insufficient justification given. You don't go to the depth of the answer. The answer points are vague. This is why people fail in 2017. You want to know why people fail in 2020? This from February 2020. This from the strategic level case study. The wording is different, but exactly the same reasons. Wording is different, the exactly the same reason. Exactly the same reason. That's why people fail. These are the 4 problems that you need to fix. These are the 4 problems that you need to fix. If you fix these 4 problems, you are. So in my course, we do different exercises to fix these problems. It's not easy. The first one, not answering the question that was asked. We have 23 guidelines, not very easy. We have 23 guidelines, not very easy. But then if you do that, you will pass the paper without a doubt. So now, if you don't trust me, again, I'm sure you trust me. Do you trust me or you don't trust me? Do you trust me half? You trust me half or full? Or quarter? Right? Right? So if you trust me half, then you can go to the examiner's report to see the same. When you go to the examiner's report, you will be able to see the same. So please concentrate on the problem that you and me need to fix together. If you and me can work together, fix this problem, trust me, all of you all can pass. So in the revision, we will be able to do limited work. However, I will give you some strategies how you are going to fix the problem. But we need to fix this problem together. Even if you look at recent examiner's report, the examiner had been saying the same thing. Examiner had been saying the same thing. What is this? This is 2020 February case study. This is the examiner's report. Examiner has clearly given 4 reasons why people fail. Those 4 reasons are very, very familiar compared to what we have seen before. Fail to answer the question that was asked, demonstrate limited technical understanding, provide insufficient justification. You're not going to the depth. You're not relating. I mean, you can't say products. You need to say what products we do. You can't say CEO, give the name of the CEO. You need to say when did we start the company. You can't write theoretical. You can't write general answer. You need to relate your answer. Each paragraph you write, you need to relate to the case study. Fail to reflect the scenario. I mean, you write answers that are not related to the specific scenario. These are the 4 issues why people have been failing from day one. I've been teaching case study for 20 years. I've been seeing all. I'm part of the SEMA Global Council. I'm a member of the SEMA Global Council. These are the reasons why people fail. These are the reasons why people fail. All right. So those are the ones that we want to fix it together. So that's what I wanted to do today, but I have few more minutes. Someone send me messages, WhatsApp. You can at any time you can send me a message on WhatsApp. So I'll try to answer that whenever possible. On the pass mark, they were asking the pass mark, right? Pass mark is for an average paper 60%, my number. So I have given my number there. If you want to ask a question at any time, my name is Channa. Pass mark is 60% for average paper. But on the exam day, you don't get the marks, you get a scale score. Scale score comes from out of 150. In the scale score, if you achieved 80, that means 60% for average paper. That's a 60% for, but on the exam day, papers are marked out of 60%. And average paper, if you get 60%, you pass. As an example, if it's a difficult paper, they will pass you at 58. If it's an easy paper, they might pass you at 62 or 63. Average paper at 60% you can pass. Average paper at 60% you can pass. Right? So therefore they can't give the marks because SEMA will have to say you got 61 and failed. That's easy paper. You got 59 and passed. That's a difficult paper. So there will be a confusion. Therefore marks will never be issued. Only a scale score will be issued. Scale score will be issued. Right? So that's the 1.5 hours that I wanted to take. No bonus marks. No bonus marks. That's the 1.5 hours I wanted to take. Thank you very much. Do Nanaska provide Q&A for the pre-seed? What do you mean Q&A? We do an in-depth analysis of the pre-seed. So what we do is we have a mock layer where people will do mock number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the exam engine. Then we have a support equipment layer, like the possible issues, like the deep dive, like the F3 questions, because F3 questions are difficult, right? Like the power mock, where the questions from E3, P3, F3. Then we do a theory layer where we try to explain the theoretical area. So I had taken my 1.5 hours sharp. Thank you very much for joining. We'll be in touch. Next week, same time, we have another 1.5 hours. Next week, same time, we have another 1.5 hours. Thank you very much for joining. Please be in touch. If you want to clarify anything, please send me a WhatsApp message for me. That's my number given. Thank you very much. Good night. Goodbye, everyone.